أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين والصلاة والسلام على سيدنا وحبيب قلوبنا وطبيب نفوسنا أبي القاسم محمد وعلى أهل بيته الطيبين الطاهرين المعصومين أما بعد السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. In continuation of the rules of fasting, as we all know that we can have more than one place of abode or one watan. But having a watan does not simply mean having opened a shop somewhere. That a man has a shop here and a shop in Birmingham and therefore he has got two watan. That is not the meaning of it. The meaning of watan is that it must be seen to be a place of residence where you have your business and you have stayed. You come and go and you live there, and at least altogether the living may extend to few months, that people know you as resident there and they know you as resident here. In this case, you can have more than one watan, and therefore traveling between these two places, which is your watan, will not necessitate praying qasr. You will pray full both places, and you will also fast. But you must remember that in the process of traveling between the two places, you are still a traveler. You come to the place where you reside, then of course your fast is saved. So if a person is traveling, then he must be quite clear that he does not travel, the process of traveling does not begin before the time of dhuhr, unless he is expecting to arrive at his second watan before the time of dhuhr. Similarly, Ayatullah Sistani Damadhillul Ali has said that a constant traveler will always fast. And a constant traveler, he has said that a person who travels often is not necessarily a constant traveler. I mean, I'm talking of those who are not professionals, not drivers or captains or pilots or whatever. I'm talking of a salesman, for example. He comes and says, I travel, say, once a week. Or I travel whenever necessary. It may be even 4 or 5 times a month. Such a person is traveling often, but he is not a constant traveler. And one who travels often, then he is a traveler, and he will not fast as he is traveling. But a person who is a constant traveler, so much so that it is known that he is on the move always, that man will fast wherever he goes. Tonight, if all of us remember, and if we don't remember, we may remind each other that it is one of the most important nights in the month of Ramadan. For tomorrow is 17th of Ramadan, inshaAllah ta'ala, and it is the day when the first battle, which was fought between the army of Islam and the army of the Kufr, which is called Badr, was fought and won tomorrow, 17th of the month of Ramadan. If you remember, in my previous lectures, I have mentioned this repeatedly, that when the faith of a person, when his iman in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is strengthened, then no power on earth can humiliate him, can humble him. The fact is that when we ourselves have got some shaken beliefs here and there, the enemies have always tried to exploit. But when there is a firm faith in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and that no other power is acknowledged but His, then you see an example as the one offered by the Battle of Badr. Before I speak on Badr, there is one misunderstanding which has been deliberately spread by the Western writers, which must be clarified. They write that when Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam came to Medina, he started raiding. You know, raid is just like being vagabond. Raiding is just like raising a party for a loot. You will read Montgomery Watt in his book Muhammad the Statesman. He writes this way, that Muhammad started raiding. That means he used to raise a band of people, and the traders who traveled from Mecca to Sham, to Damascus, were raided by the Prophet and robbed and looted. See, this is the word. And based on this, many of our own brothers have started arguing that the Prophet started raiding. Raiding means those who recklessly go out to loot the people, rob the people of their possessions. What people have failed to read behind the historical developments that took place, I would like you to understand. When the Prophet came to Medina, after the hijrah, the migration, remember, those who accompanied him had left everything behind. They did not only leave their wealth behind, they left all that they possessed in Mecca, and it was not left to their credit anymore. What happened was either the possessions were looted by the people in Mecca, or they were broken. Some of the things perished. You see, because of that revenge that they wanted to take against the people who have migrated, they sustained a very heavy loss. That is one thing which we must not forget. Had it not been for the people of Medina, who are called Ansar, who offered sometimes half of their wealth to Muhajirin, saying that we are brothers and therefore you will share my half wealth. Had it not been the reception that the Ansar in Medina gave to Muhajirin, the Muhajirin had no way of maintenance. This is a fact, that they were so well received in Medina. People shared wealth. Immediately they came to the Prophet and said, he is my brother, I give him half of my wealth. This is history. Second thing is this, that those people who had signed, when the Prophet came to Medina, he instituted the first constitution of Islam. Sometimes we must read history. It has got about 13 clauses. Only 13 clauses. But if you read that agreement which the Prophet entered in with the Jews of Medina, you'll be surprised that in those 13 clauses, everything is included. One of the clauses is that we shall live together, granting freedom of worship to all who are here, whatever religion they want to follow, as long as they do not go against Islam. This freedom was given then. It is inherent in Islamic attitude towards all religions that you are free to worship the way you like, provided you do not initiate any plot against Islam. So much so, if you read, you'll find that they entered into a common agreement in which a common enemy trying to enter into Medina to attack, both of them would join hands together to defend. Right? In spite of this very reasonable agreement, the Jews started working underground against the Prophet within Medina. So a second threat. And not only they worked underground, they started having connection with the mushrikeen of Makkah, so that one day they could plan and join hands together to topple the Prophet, who had already, so to say, now entrenched his stay in Medina. 2. 3. The Christians of Najran, who had only 1.5 years ago signed an agreement with the Prophet, about Mubahila I'm talking, they started turning their faces once the agreement was signed, and once they had given away whatever they were supposed to give as jizya, then they forgot, and they started also working against the Prophet. Fourth, within Medina, those who accepted Islam, all of them were not sincere, some of them were hypocrites and munafiqun. And Quran says that in Medina, O Prophet, there are certain people who are hypocrites. That means they have said La ilaha illallah Muhammadur Rasulullah, but within their hearts they are not with you. Have you understood this situation? Now, from Mecca, they started raiding first. Why? When Ansar or Muhajirin, those who came out with their cattle to graze them, they would send an army or a band of vagabonds to raid and actually rob them, pillage them, take away their cattle and leave them without any wealth. This started happening till they had so much of courage then that they entered Medina once for pillaging and plundering. Nobody mentions these things. And they said that the Prophet was preparing a raid. The Prophet, in defense of that newly established state, had to make some measures, to take some steps, to defend. And that is what they call raiding. Is it raiding? It's not raiding at all. If they had left Medina to grow independently, without any disturbance, the Prophet had no business. The Prophet who declared his prophethood and lived in Mecca among hostile atmosphere did not wage a single war, did not fight a single battle. Now that he came to Medina, did he come here only to fight? No. But they would not allow him to rest in peace. So, when the Prophet came to know that this is now going beyond limit, a group of traders headed by Abu Sufyan, aiming to go to Syria, left Mecca. And the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam commanded and gave an order that this must be stopped, because these are the people who have looted us and robbed us, and we must form a barrier so that they don't go further, and they must reimburse what they have taken from the people. In that caravan, there were about 40 to 42 people. When Abu Sufyan came to know from his spies that Muhammad is preparing an army, then he sent someone back to Mecca to say that now is the time to crush Muhammad once and for all. And in Mecca, a man entered, read, a man entered with clothes torn, with hair disheveled and unkempt, beating his cheeks and saying, Al-Latima, Al-Latima, that Muhammad has come to hit us, Muhammad has come to loot us, Muhammad has come to pillage us and plunder us. Do something and rise. So the people of Mecca rose to join the army, which formed the army of Badr. When the Prophet came to know this, that now is going to be a confrontation, he did not take all the people of Medina with him. This is something which the people don't want to tell us. He took only 313 people with him. 313. While this army which had now collected was more than 1,000 people, well armed. While here there were not more than 13 horses. There were few swords, and the rest had spears, and some came with stones. So, not well armed, at the same time, the army was weak. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in Quran says, وَلَقَدْ نَصَرَكُمُ اللَّهُ بِبَدْرٍ وَأَنْتُمْ أَذِلَّةٌ. And Allah helped you in the battle of Badr when you were weak, when you were small in number. When they reached what is called Badr, those of you who have been to Medina, inshallah, those who have not been will go. And those who have been will go again and again. There is a place called Badr, which is still for ziyarah. Many people go there. When they met there, Badr, The Prophet saw the position and they saw the situation. And now here comes the question, that one of the army or troop was sent by Abu Sufyan to go and see what is the morale of the army of the Prophet and try to see if there are some people hidden here and there, because it can't be 313 against so many. He may have kept some here and there hidden. They came and very inconspicuously, surreptitiously, they went and saw. They found that there was no hidden army except the one which was before them. But the morale was high. So the report that he gave was Abu Sufyan, they are less in number. They are few, but their morale is high. Everyone there is talking that, "Oh Muhammad, we are not like the people of Musa who told Musa, 'Go you and your God fight and we will sit back.' They are Muhammad's people who say, 'Ya Muhammad, you proceed and we will follow you.'" And then there was that conference on 17th of Ramadan. Well, it's a very long history, but it is a very interesting history of Islam. Because had it not been this battle, the result of this battle foretold the future of Islam and gave us a lesson that if you have faith, if you have Iman, then however small in number you may be and however small your resources may be, but the greatest wealth that you can possess is your Iman billah. Even today, it applies to us. Just now we read Dua Iftitah and we say, وَتَظَاهُرَ الزَّمَانِ عَلَيْنَا إِنَّا نَشْكُو إِلَيْكَ فَقْدَ نَبِيِّنَا. Oh Allah, we complain unto you that we don't have the Prophet among us. وَغَيْبَةَ وَلِيِّنَا, and the Imam is ghaib. وَكَثْرَةَ عَدُوِّنَا, and there are many enemies. وَقِلَّةَ عَدَدِنَا, and we are few in number. وَشِدَّةَ الْفِتَنِ بِنَا, one after the other there is plotting and planning against us. وَتَظَاهُرَ الزَّمَانِ عَلَيْنَا, and the whole era, the whole time, the contemporary era is against us, demonstrating against us. Is it not so? But being few in number should not dishearten us. Being poor and meager in resources should not dishearten and disappoint us, because what we should maintain is Iman billah, faith. Well, there was a battle. The great three, Walid and his father Atba and his uncle Shayba, they came. You must have heard this many times. But when they came, the Prophet from his army, 3 people from Ansar came. These 3 great fighters said, "Ya Muhammad, don't send these unknown people before us. Send those who match us. We will not fight these people whose death would not matter. We would like to have people who are our match." So the Prophet, without hesitation, without even taking a time to think as to who should go, immediately he said, "Hamza, Ali, no, Ubaidah." Ubaidah was his nephew, Ali was his cousin, Hamza was his uncle. He proved to the world that when such times come, it is the house of Abu Talib and Abdul Muttalib and Hashim which will help. And history records, all Ahlul Sunnah and Tashayyu, something which I have not read in any other battle, that these 3 people stood up with smile on their faces, as if they were happy, they were pleased that they had been chosen. Otherwise, normally when you are commanded to go, people don't celebrate. These went out as if they were celebrating. And what happened has been described. That, of course, as far as Hamza was concerned, there was no question. he dealt with Shayba. As far as Ali was concerned, Salamullah alayh, he dealt with Walid because they are of same age. And as far as Aqba was concerned, of course, there Ubaidah could not match him. He was hit on his leg and his legs were cut off. Hamza came to help and of course the enemy was killed. But for Shayba, both of them broke their swords, Hamza and Shayba. When they broke their swords, they actually embraced each other fighting. Someone from behind said, Ya Ali. People say, why do you say Ya Ali? I say, this is a sunnah from those days. People today are asking us, why Ya Ali? Why? I'm telling you, this is the sunnah from the days of the Prophet. Somebody from the army said, Ya Ali, look at Hamza. And what is happening? Hamza was taller than Shayba in height. You see? So look at what is happening. Immediately Ali ibn Abi Talib, after finishing with Walid, turned towards Shayba and said, Oh uncle, bow down. Because the head was tall enough. He said, bow down. And Hamza bowed down, keeping his head on the chest of the enemy. And Ali ibn Abi Talib hit Shayba. All three of them were killed. And Abu Jahl was killed. And all those great leaders of Mushrikeen were killed. And the army started running. And when they reached Makkah, people asked, what happened to all of you? Everyone who ran said, Ali was behind me. I don't know how it can happen. But at least all of them have agreed that out of 70 killed, nearly 35 were killed by Ali ibn Abi Talib, and the balance of 35, Ali joined them in killing. But whoever ran said, Ali was behind me. Right? The only person who does not write about all this is Haykal. I'm sorry to say that Haykal is one of the most dishonest writers we have in 20th century. He writes in his book that Ali and Hamza were gallant and had beautiful performance in Badr. That's all. Nothing else. He doesn't mention what happened, because mentioning that would prove, had it not been for Ali, the very first battle would have gone wrong. But of all the beautiful things about Badr, what I have read and which I always enjoy reading is that when Ali ibn Abi Talib and Hamza were both in the middle of the army fighting, they write, and the heads swam. That means it was just like the ocean of heads swimming one over the other. And Ali and Hamza in the center of the army. And people running away while the heads fell. At that time, Jibreel Amin came to the Prophet and said, Ya Rasulullah, look at Ali ibn Abi Talib. This is the meaning of assistance. And this is the meaning of sympathy and brotherhood. This is the sacrifice. I am reading from Ahlul Sunnah books. And the Prophet said, Oh Jibreel, why not? فَإِنَّهُ مِنِّي وَأَنَا مِنْهُ. For he is from me, and I am from him. Over. Jibreel immediately responded, وَأَنَا مِنْكُمَا. And I belong to both of you. And I belong to both of you. This is Badr. And then, according to the history, then a voice was heard. La sayfa illa dhul fiqar, la fata illa Ali. Salawatullah salam alayhi. And when actually this battle was over, Abu Sufyan could not believe. And he did not know what he will answer back in Mecca. For he went fully armed. He went with an army. and he faced an army which was ill-armed. At the same time, it was smaller in number. How to answer? Secondly, the people killed were all the stalwarts and pillars of their society. Now, Ibn Hisham writes, Sirah Ibn Hisham is what Sirah Ibn Ishaq is, of course. Ibn Hisham in his preface writes that I have taken out those things with which I don't agree. But naturally it is just a reproduction of Ibn Ishaq. He says that near Khane Kaaba, Abu Lahab, the Prophet's uncle, was waiting to hear the news. Anxious, because he knew that some good news is coming. And then Abu Sufyan was seen. So he stood up and said, "Oh brother, give me good news." And Abu Sufyan said, "It was like us. وَكَأَنَّهُ كُنَّا نَبْنَحُ أَكْتَافَنَا فَيَقْتُلُونَ." It was like this, that we were giving away our shoulders and they were killing us. It was just like we ourselves surrendering our shoulders and they were cutting us off. And then he said, "Wallah, by his name that I believe in," whatever he believed in, Wallati wal Uzza and all that, you see, that I saw an army riding a white horse, the army I had never seen before. Abu Rafi' was sitting there. He said, "Yes, there must be malaika. There must be the angels." When Abu Rafi' said, Abu Rafi' was a simple, ordinary, weak person. Abu Lahab immediately slapped him so hard that Abu Rafi' fell down. One lady, Fadl, standing there, said, "You are hitting a helpless person." She took up a pillar and hit Abu Lahab so hard that Abu Lahab was wounded, and he went home crying and weeping and lamenting and wailing for 7 days. On the 7th day he died. Died of shock, of not believing that this can happen in what happened in Badr. Thus, those raids were stopped, and the economic condition and situation of the Muslims freshly established in Medina was entrenched, although soon after Badr, Uhud followed. But Badr decided the fate of Muslims. That is why it is a very big night, and tomorrow is a day on which we will be actually happy that it is the day of Islamic victory. But tonight is Thursday. And although it is the night of that joy that I have just expressed, at the same time our duty is not to forget Sayyid al-Shuhada. Because it is Thursday, the impact of Badr. Did Ali alayhi salam kill those people out of personal animosity? Was there any personal grudge? No. If at all he killed them because it was the command of Allah. He always said this, even in the courts of Khulafa. Whenever people remembered what happened in Badr, he would say, "I'm not at all remorseful about what happened because I did not do it for myself. It was Allah who commanded and I did it. Even if it were to kill my own brother, if it is commanded by Allah, I'll do it. So I'm not at all regretting what I did." This is what Ali ibn Talib's stand was. But do you remember when the Ahlul Bayt, after the martyrdom of Imam Hussain alayhi salam, when they came to the court of Yazid, what did Yazid say? He immediately remembered Badr. Ya layta ashyakhi bi badrin shahidu. I wish my elders of Badr today may see how I have avenged for their blood. That means he could not forget that Badr. And he thought that he was avenging the blood of his elders, taking a revenge. Because he could not forget that. And he was trying to say that my elders who were killed on that day will today be satisfied. It is for this reason, my friends, that when Imam Rida alayhi salam was holding majalis, people ask, when did this majalis start? I say they started with Ahlul Bayt. If they had not started with Ahlul Bayt, we would not have started it. One Muharram, Di'b al-Khazai came there and Khazai said, Imam said, Di'b, have you said any new marthiyah this year? In this Muharram, have you said new marthiyah? Imam alayhi salam sitting on the ground and the Dhakir sitting on the chair. And he says, Yabna Rasulullah, how can I sit on the chair with you present? And the Imam says that it is a matter of pride for us that someone sits on the chair and remembers Karbala. And in that very famous marthiyah of Madarisu Ayatin, he says, Afatimu law khiltil Husayna mujaddala walaqad mata atshanam bishatti furati. O Fatima Zahra, I wish you had seen how Hussein was soiled in his blood on the plains of Karbala, and he died of thirst on the bank of the river of Furat. Afatimu qumi yabnat al-khayri wandubi nujum as-samawatin bi ardi falati. O Fatima, stand up, rise, and cry over those stars of the heaven who were slain on the plain of Karbala. This is what happened. And finally he said, which was actually the couplet which moved the ladies who were listening to this marsiha from behind the veil. From behind the veil, the ladies were listening to this marsiha, and when they reached here, and he said, Alu ziyadin fil qusuri masunatun. These ladies of Ziyad, that means ladies of Yazid and his family, Abdullah ibn Ziyad, they are in their palaces. Wa alu Muhammad Rasulullah muntakat. And the Rasul's al and Dhurriya and the family is being taken, humiliated in the streets of Sham and Kufa. The voice was raised. And Imam Rida alayhi salam said, well, this is enough for today. This is what has happened. The Badr, the battle was a decisive Badr battle, and it left its impact on the Umayyads as long as they ruled. May Allah give us tawfiq. Wassalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.